Hey everyone, it's the Vigilante. So I'm going to be reacting to GameCross's video about the $70 price tag for the Indiana Jones Great Circle coming to PS5. And there's an update also, so let's get into it.
How's it going, everyone? So we have the official confirmation of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. It is coming to PlayStation 5, and it will be dropping on April the 17th. Now, right now, looking at the PlayStation Store, on my end, it actually says April 16th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, but the date being promoted is April 17th, so we're just gonna go with April 17th. Now, before I get too in-depth on my thoughts on the game specifically, I do want to say I think $70 is kind of insane. I get it that I'm one of the only people that really do bug out about price points to this extent. However, I feel like, yes, while it's kind of insane, should we all be expecting stuff like this? Absolutely. I was expecting it to be $70. That doesn't mean I'm not going to call it out for being kind of nuts that a 4-month delayed release of Indiana Jones The Great Circle is $70. I feel like that $10 differential, I know we're grasping at straws here, but I really do believe the difference between releasing something at $60 versus $70, that makes a huge difference. Like, that 60 to 70 jump, I think, is big. Not only that, it is doing the early access gimmick, which this, to me, just suggests that every PlayStation title, or I should say every Xbox title that becomes a PlayStation title, every Xbox game that comes to PlayStation, even on the delayed release, they're gonna do the early access gimmick, which at that point, that's like low-key hilarious. That is so funny to me that we get a delayed release on PlayStation, but we still do fake early access. Like, oh, you get the fake early access of the delayed release, but you're still paying a premium for the game, or Forza Horizon 5.
You know, at first I thought $70 was kind of a ridiculous price point for a report, but if you go and look on Steam, it's also going for $70. Xbox, if you have Game Pass, it's it's included with Game Pass, but if you don't have it, it's $70 there. So even though it's a report, I would say $70 is a fair price. I'm surprised that it's held up in price for as long as it has at $70. I mean, you can get a used copy at GameStop for a little cheaper if you really want to. Now, with the whole early access, normally I don't have a problem with early access if people want to get the deluxe edition or the ultimate edition, or even want to do the pre-order for the early access. I don't really see that much of a problem with it. I do get where everybody else is coming from with the whole fake early access, but for this one specifically, I don't think the early access is going to do anything. You're telling me all these people that have not played the game, who only have a PlayStation, they've waited 4 months for this game. You don't think they can wait a couple more days just to get the standard edition so they don't get early access? You're telling me that they're going to be like, oh my god, I gotta play it 2 days even though they've been waiting months already? Come on here. Xbox, you know they're not going to sit there and do that crap for the early access. You're just throwing it in there to throw it in there.
$60, and look, not every game can I paint with the same brush. Like, Forza Horizon is at such a high quality level, and the fact is that $60 to $70 price difference I think makes a ton of difference. Like, that $10 difference I really do think means a lot. I don't see this game doing very well right out the gate on PlayStation 5. I think it'll sell a couple of copies here and there, but I do definitely believe that over the course of all of 2025, as the game gets discounted, let's say by Black Friday, it's 50% off for $35 or it's down to $30. At that point, I see a lot of people checking it out because Indiana Jones The Great Circle is a really good game. It is a really, really good game. However, for me to recommend a game at a full $70, you better be a damn good game. Like, you have to be a really, really great game for me to say, hey, go buy that at 70 bucks. On top of that, the fact is this is a delayed release, a 4-month delayed release at 70 bucks. Just, yes, I get it, 4 months isn't that long of a time, but it's a decent enough time. Guys, games always are at their peak value on day one. That is when the hype is the highest, that is when the attention is the highest, and that's when they expect to sell the most amount of copies. Why do you think they do fake early access for $30 extra? In the case of the premium edition of Great Circle, obviously you do get the Order of Giants story DLC, but it is that idea of FOMO. And if a game is releasing at a 4-month delay, it should be shaved off by $10. Not only that, but the game was available on Xbox Game Pass. So the argument could be made, the perception has already been broken on Indiana Jones The Great Circle being worth $70. Again, I am always going to be a lot more nitpicky than most people when it comes to price points, and I've talked about it a lot. A lot of you guys will probably just say, bro, shut the hell up, like, we get it, it is what it is. And I do get it from the standpoint.
I do agree that I don't think this game is going to do that well on the PS5, because pretty much most of the people that have already wanted to play it have already played it. This game is not going to sit there and sell, like, for instance, like an Uncharted. If you compare this to an Uncharted hands down is way better than this game. Uncharted, the story is better. The character, well, okay, the character might be at the same level as Indiana Jones if we're being honest, but story's better. It's, you know, it's just an all-around better game. Everything about it is way better than Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. But in order for this game to sell, It is selling to a specific audience who love Indiana Jones. This game is tailor-made to Indiana Jones fans. If you're not into the Indiana Jones, if you never watched the original Indiana Jones, you will not understand it. I don't think you're going to like it. You're not going to get the jokes. You're not going to get the character. And you're going to think that the writing is horrible. The game is boring. You're just not going to get it. So I will definitely encourage you, go watch the original movies before you play this game.
It is what it is. Like, games are just priced kind of crazy. Sony releases their games on PC on a delay, but they do offer you a little bit of a price discount. It's not released at $70, it's released at $60. And like I said, I do think that difference between $60 to $70 is pretty big. Now, beyond that, the premium edition being $100, that's something you just got to accept. Like, I think with South of the Midnight, when that comes to PlayStation, they're gonna do the fake early access gimmick on the delayed releases, which, again, I think is hilarious, and I almost kind of respect the hustle at that point, but, that's just something you're gonna have to expect. And the higher price point, something you're gonna have to expect. Forza Horizon is $60, I would imagine. That Gears collection, I do believe that's gonna be a $70 release. Like, just get ready to pay a premium, and at the end of the day, nobody's forcing you to pay a premium. You got Indiana Jones coming out next month, you got Expedition 33 coming out next month, you got Forza Horizon 5 coming out next month. All of a sudden, April went from a month that was kind of okay as far as game releases go to where if you're a PlayStation guy, you got Indiana Jones, Expedition 33, Forza Horizon 5 all coming out in the same month. Next month's actually looking pretty spicy, and in the case of most of you guys, I think you're of the mindset that, hey, cool to see Indiana Jones come out on PlayStation. Am I going to pick it up day one? Probably not. But like I said, if you do buy it down the line, I think the people that wait for this game to be discounted to $25 to $30, they're going to pick it up and then be pleasantly surprised by the game. This was done by Machine Games, the guys that did the Wolfenstein games, and I'm not a huge Indiana Jones.
Personally, I don't really think this should be sold at $70, but I don't know if they haven't fixed the game yet. Because when I played it, I didn't have no game crashing bugs. I don't have an Xbox, but I played it on my computer. And I will sit there and say, overall, the game, I loved it. But I love Indiana Jones. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It brought back so many memories as a kid when I used to watch these movies with my dad. But there were problems with this game. Like, in almost every level, depending on the way the light would hit you in the cutscenes, it would make your character like kind of like melt into the background. Like the graphics would drop, and your character would start to change colors to like morph into the background, like it's trying to blend in or something. It looks so weird at times. It looked like you were like a liquid metal, like the T-1000 from Terminator. It was the weirdest thing ever, and it would just keep doing that. I mean, like, at a full price game, it shouldn't be doing that. At a $70 game, it should be polished to perfection. But, I think it would do phenomenally better if the game would sell for, I think it should be sold at $50. Because this type of game is not going to reach a wide audience. It's not like a Call of Duty or an Assassin's Creed, or you can even go Elden Ring, okay, or a Bloodborne, for instance. This is going to reach a certain type of fandom. It is not going to be as large as you would think of other type of IPs out there. This is a very specific IP, so I think that they're releasing it so they can finally make their money back, because I can imagine that most people probably picked it up on Game Pass, and I don't see how they made their money.
Guy, but I saw the reception of this game back in December, and I was like, you know what, I probably owe it to myself to play this game based on the fact that I'm covering video games, and if this is really the best published Xbox game, the best Xbox published game of 2024, I owe it to myself to play this game just for the knowledge of knowing about it and talking about it, and it will ultimately come to PlayStation 5, so I can continue talking about it when that release is relevant. I was pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed the game, on the basis of, I saw people saying that it was Uncharted mixed with Dishonored, which, you're taking two of my favorite franchises and combining them. That's like Darksiders being called Legend of Zelda combined with God of War. Like, let's relax a little bit, but it is a really, really great game. As far as the stealth mechanics go, I thought it was well done. The visuals, oh my goodness, from a visual standpoint, this might be one of the best looking games on the market today, and I think you can make a legit argument that it is the best game from a visual standpoint. It is gorgeous, and on top of that, there's actually a decent amount of content in this game. Like, if you do all of the side content and whatnot, you're talking about a decent bit to do. I'm not saying it's going to be a 40-50 hour game, but a solid 25-hour experience, yeah, you'll find that in Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and I thought the puzzles were fairly well done. Some of them were infuriating, but that might just be a get good at puzzles kid type of thing going on, but I would definitely recommend you guys to add it to your wish list. $70, I wouldn't even recommend this game at $70 on launch day. Again, when we talk about games and paying a full $70 for them, you gotta be a damn good game. Yeah, I'll say spend $70 on a God of War Ragnarok. I'll say spend $70 on, a new Forza Horizon if it's a day one release. Okay, sure, that's
yes, the game did look phenomenally amazing when it wanted to work, but in my circumstance, when it came to the cutscenes, whenever it got to a new level, I'm not kidding you, the guy would start to change colors. Indiana Jones would change colors and start to blend into the background. It was like he was turning into liquid metal. In that one cutscene that you just saw with the whole snow and ice, I'm not kidding you, he would literally start to turn like a whitish liquidy metal color to blend in with the scenery. It was actually quite hilarious, but I know they didn't purposely mean to do that. So for a $70 game, I agree, it needs to be an amazing game. It needs to be polished to perfection. This game just unfortunately was not polished to perfection. So I think, if you look at Rogue City 1, amazing game. I highly recommend that game, and I believe it came out at $50. This game is in the realm of what a Rogue City 1 is. When it comes to those movie type of title games, they only go for a select audience. And when you sell them at a full price game, it's going to detract quite a few people from picking it up.
Game that might be worthwhile for $70. And, some of the big PlayStation first-party games worth $70. Gears of War E-Day, if that's a day one on PlayStation, okay, maybe that'll be worth $70. Indiana Jones, I think, is the perfect kind of game to buy on sale, get it for $30 to $40. $40 at most. To me, $40 would be the ceiling on this game, but I think if you pay a lower price point, you go into it with decent expectations, but not blow away, you will be pleasantly surprised with what you get out of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. It's just $70 on a delayed release. I can't recommend it at that price point, but certainly, again, add it to the wish list. I think it'll be $35 by the end of the year, and I think at that price point, it'll be quite good. Or this might be a game that you just completely forget about. A couple years down the line, it's literally on sale for like $15. You pick it up then, and you are pleasantly surprised at that point. By the way, the game is noted to be PlayStation 5 Pro enhanced, and I really love the little crossover that they did to promote the game as far as the PlayStation 5 release. That's dropping on April the 17th. I imagine that Forza Horizon 5 is going to get a lot more attention, and Forza is one of those established Microsoft IPs coming over to PlayStation, and I would just say Forza Horizon 5 has a lot of content. It's going to give you more bang for your buck, $60 versus $70, which I do think is a big difference, but Indiana Jones, add it to the wish list. I think down the line, paying a discounted price, $30 to $40 at most, but if you wait a year or two and you end up getting it for sub 20, I think you guys will be pleasantly surprised with what you get here. Rumblings about maybe potentially more Indiana Jones games down the line, but we do know that there's going to be that piece of DLC, which I do believe the DLC, I would have to imagine, is going to come out day and date on Xbox and PlayStation. I don't see why you would delay the release of the DLC on PlayStation, but we'll see how that turns out. That's going to do it for me.
I mean, I would disagree a little bit with the whole price point thing. I think that at $50, 50 should be the most. I think that's the perfect price point. Honestly, I'm all for getting as cheap as possible. So even if it got down to $5, I'd be happy. Cheaper the better when it comes to me. But I think $50 would be a fair price point. $70, I think this game's a little too high for a $70 game. Again, I just don't think it's at the level of many AAA titles. I don't see this game garnering that much attention. And then when it comes to the whole DLC, you bet your ass I'm going to sit there and pick up that one. I love this game. I will sit there and pick it up. But that's just because I'm an Indiana Jones fan, just like I said. And if you want to check out this guy, his guy's name is GameCross. I'll link his channel down below and let him know I sent you. Give him the respect he deserves. But that's it for my reaction. Let me know down in the comments if you agree with me or not. Please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay vigilant.